In this step, we are going to consider the fact that if we have decimals of a second, that is something we do not want to work with. For example, let's say you have your 4 or 5 or 6 unbalanced angles depending on your traverse. This example does have 4 unbalanced angles. We add those up and we end up with 359, 58, 21 minus the 360. This is very similar to the example I've been using, but I just wanted to use these numbers because they're close to what we have. And I end up with an error, a total error of 0 degrees, 1 minute, 39 seconds. Once I take that total error and divide it by the number of sides I have in my traverse, in my case happens to be 4, I end up with 0 degrees, 0 minutes, 24.75 seconds. This is the area that I'm telling you you do not want to work with. You do not want to work with decimals of a second. You'll have problems with that in the future, specifically when we start calculating bearings on the next step. So, how are we going to work with that? If you have decimals of a second, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to round up and round down and alternate. So what I mean by that is when you're balancing, you're going to take the original unbalanced angle. You're going to then add the amount of error now, or subtract if depending on your situation. In my case, because my angles ended up being lower, meaning my target angle was less than the 360, that's why I have to add. So it depends on your situation. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to round, like I'd mentioned before, up and down. So I'm going to take the first angle, and instead of working with 2475, I'm going to round and add 25 seconds. The next angle, I'm going to add 24 seconds. Notice I'm rounding up, then rounding down, rounding up, and rounding down. Once I do that, I will then consider my balanced angles, add them up, and in many situations, you're going to see that you're still not at the full 360 or whatever angle you need for your particular traverse. So what you're going to have to do in this case is look at the situation. I'm lower than the 360, so I need to add 1 second somewhere. So then instead of rounding up, rounding down, rounding up, and rounding down, I'm just going to simply take one of these here. And instead of rounding down, I'm just going to round up, just like all the other ones. So in this case, I'm going to round this one up to 25 seconds. This will then become 39 seconds. Once I make that 39 seconds and you do the math, you'll notice this will now become the exact 360 degrees, which is what we need. You need to make sure to take the time to get the actual angle exactly to the nearest second, because if that's not the case, the rest of your calculations with your departures and latitudes will not work. So in this case, I just rounded this one up another second to simply add another second to calculation to end up with the exact angle that I need for my traverse.